Welcome and thank you for joining. You're here for the order management solution demo. There are still a few joining, but let's go ahead and get started for the sake of time. Presentation will begin here in just a minute. Please note that all of the attendees are in listen only mode. If you have any questions, you can submit those in the questions window. Should be at the bottom of your menu. We will get to those as they come in as time permits. You will also get a recording of the video. Those usually come out about a day after the webinar. So be looking for that in your email as well. All right, the order management solutions demo. There is a picture of the questions window box. Again, just submit questions as you have them during the presentation, and we'll get to those. We'll stop her when we can and save what we can for the end as well. Okay, a little bit about eMedApps. eMedApps is a healthcare information technology services company. We provide practices and clinics and hospitals with a full range of services, as well as a suite of products that are designed to increase efficiency and facilitate communication. We were founded in 1999. We've worked as a partner with NextGen since 2001. We've worked as a subcontractor for NextGen. We also serve healthcare clients all across the USA, and we have services and products for NextGen clients. All right, if you want to follow us out there on our social media platforms, we'd love to have you. We're out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and we also have a YouTube channel. We're also on LinkedIn. Just look for eMedApps and you can go out there and follow us. Okay, about our presenter today. Shauna Wilburn, she has been with us for 18 plus years, experience with the NextGen product, and she is NextGen certified for document management, PM, and EHR. She's a senior application specialist and a project manager here on staff, and she's a wealth of knowledge. So I'll pass it on to you, Shauna.
Thanks so much, Holly. I appreciate the introduction and welcome everyone. I couldn't be more excited to have the opportunity today to demonstrate to you the newest eMedApps product, the order management solution. So when we use the term order management, a lot of times in the NextGen environment, we are talking about, the order management template that you see a lot on NextGen charts. We go here a lot to look at the patient as a whole and what's been done in the past, how those orders were addressed and responded to, and what might be the status of those different orders. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the newest eMedApps product, the order management solution. And really this solution is very unique. As with most NextGen products or products that we introduce at eMedApps, a lot of the idea comes from our client base. A client comes to us with a need and we take that information and transform that into a product that not only helps fulfill the need for them, but also can serve many of our clients. And that's certainly where this product started from. We had a couple clients come to us and basically their need was really centered around referrals. They have a referral department. And, in NextGen, they were struggling with the ability to review referrals as the whole at the practice level. Now, at the patient level, it's great. You can come here, you click the referrals button, and, you've got all of your information right there for you. But to take that up a level, take that to like the 30,000 foot overview, you don't have a great way to go in and see all the referrals in your system, where they stand, how many referrals were put in this week, how many referrals were worked this week, and all that kind of information. Now, granted, you can build reports, and I've heard, lots of clients have set up some interesting things with third-party products like I2I and different things like that. But that all requires manpower and a knowledge of the NextGen database to really link all that information together. So what we've done with our order management solution is we've done that legwork for you, made it a very simple install, and providing a tool to where you can see that 30,000 foot overview at the practice level of all of your orders within your NextGen application. So I'll dive right in and I'll demo the application to you, but I certainly would love, questions and interactions. So as Holly mentioned, please put your questions in the chat. Please communicate with us, and then at the end, we'll certainly unmute and allow for any questions, dialogue. I see a lot of familiar names on the webinar, so welcome to all my old friends and all the new names. It's great to meet you and have the opportunity to spend a little time with you today. So This is the eMedApps order management solution, and I'm just going to click the login button. Now, you probably noticed this is sitting outside of NextGen. You know, for the demonstration today, I'm going to toggle back and forth between two different windows, and I chose to use two different browsers just for ease of use for the webinar today, but you could certainly put it in the same browser and have two different tabs or however you access your NextGen application. But the order management solution does sit outside of your NextGen application. And the reason that we designed it this way, there was a lot of thought and effort and a lot of clinic input that went into this design. And really to kind of give you that under the hood look at it, um, it really boiled down to functionality within NextGen. As you know, within NextGen, you can only have one chart open at a time, and that's by design because NextGen's an encounter-based documentation system. And so, in talking with clinics and what people ultimately wanted out of a tool like this, the overwhelming feedback that we received, and to accommodate those requests, we determined it'd be best just to put this in like a website type model. So you can see this is a centralized website type model. We use CareBridge Lite to populate the data. So basically what would happen if you wanted to implement order management at your practice, we would do a small install on your server, and that small install of CareBridge Lite would take your NextGen data and feed it into order management. And then it'll also take the order management updates and feed it back into NextGen. So for any of you geeky friends on the call, it is a bidirectional interface. It is pumping data both ways. It is set up to be as seamless as you want it to be. So when we do your install, we would talk with you about how often you want data to transfer. It could be 15 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be daily. We can transfer as much data back and forth as often as you would like, depending on your workflow and what your particular clinic's needs might be. So as we're logged in here, when you first log in, you're immediately presented with the dashboard. So the dashboard is functioning off of the dates that we have selected here at the top. And the first widget that we have available to you is order status by location. So you can see that each of my locations here, now all of my data is dummy data, so don't be afraid. You're not going to see any real PHI here or anything. If you've ever worked with NextGen or had any of that data, Westside Medical Office is a common one that you see. So this is all dummy data from our sandbox environment. But the first widget that you have here is order status by location. So it breaks down this information by location, and you can hover over any of the columns and you can see that there's 114 orders for CHC Medical, and you know, colors kind of correlate here, and you can see the graph and the information. And then if you kind of scroll down a little bit, not only do you get the data in graph format, you also get the data with the actual numerical values listed down here at the bottom. So if you just want to see the nuts and bolts, you could jump right down and see that you have 162 orders within this date range, or you could look at the graphs and use that information too. So just depending on what I might launch order management for, depends on how I might use this dashboard. And then we also have another widget down here at the bottom, which is the order status updates by order type. So what we're looking at here is how many orders have been updated within, pardon my scroll, within this date range at the top. So within the date range at the top, how many have been updated? Well, within that date range, we have scheduled 4 referrals and we have scheduled 1 diagnostic order. So basically this little widget is looking at productivity data for the team. And we plan to expand this dashboard more as we have more clinics adopt the dashboard. We are looking for, you know, the different metrics that you would like to see, and we plan to put a lot of great information on this homepage for you. So really the goal is just that 30,000 foot overview of what's going on in your practice at just a simple click of a button. So I really like the display here and how the information is presented to you. But if you are a person in the clinic that's really working these orders, maybe you're a member of the referrals team, this is not where we're going to live every day. We want to get into the details. So that's when you move on the left-hand side from the dashboard to the order section of the utility. This is the details. This is what you want to see if you're one of the people working the orders. So this is your order list. I currently have 1,578 orders in my NextGen system, and this is the different ACT classes that they break down to. Now, at class, if you're someone that's in the tables and do a little maybe template editing, document building, that term's going to be familiar to you. That means it's the type of order. It's called an at class in NextGen. If you're not on the back side of things and you're just looking in the application, a lot of times you don't see the at class. On the application side of things, you just see it more subdivided by like referrals or procedures or things like that. So we kind of give you the best of both worlds here in order management and give you the opportunity to see it by the at class, but you can also, you have the opportunity in configuration to where you could relabel these. So if you wanted to combine some together, maybe you wanted, let's just take referrals as an example. Maybe you wanted REFR and REFR underscore INT, these two different at classes, just to be labeled referrals. We could certainly do that for you, and that would all be through the tools and components that you have available in the configuration of this utility. So when we're in the order section of order management, now we're breaking down the specific orders. What's going on within the practice? What's outstanding? What's overdue? What's scheduled to be followed up on? All that information is stuff that I can access from this screen. So the first thing I'll highlight, just introducing you to the screen, is this little left-hand panel here. This is probably one of my personal favorite features because I really like how it just makes grabbing the orders super simple. I can just click right on the header here and jump to those section of orders. So, and then I click clear and I can go back to the whole list. Or if I just want to jump to the 2 exams, I can just click exam and it'll show me the 2 exams within my practice. Now guys, remember, this is practice level data. I just clicked one button and jumped to these 2 orders. Just that easy is how you can dive right into the specifics of the orders within your practice. If I want to see the 5 injections, I can just jump right into those and try to figure out why these are ordered and not completed, because why would I ever have an injection that was not done? You know, these are the questions we run across in charts and we happen across them and then we figure them out. Now you can have all this information right at your fingertips at the practice level, the high level, and be able to just peruse your data so easily at an organizational level with the tools that you have available here. So I'm just going to go back to my full list here to the all orders, and you can see common headers that we have here: patient name, date of birth, the ordered status, order date, the order description. If it is completed, you typically have a completed date, who the ordering provider is, and ordering location. You can you see that the data just right now is sorted on patient name, but if I wanted to, you know, sort on something different, all these headers are sortable for me. I can interact with the data in a variety of ways through what I have available to me here on the screen just by sorting on the column headers. So I can also go back up to the top and check out the filters here. Now, because this is like a web app and it's, you know, sitting outside of your NextGen application, we have a lot of neat functions to where we can hide things, we can show things. So depending on the size of your monitor and how much real estate you have, what you might consider doing is putting order management kind of like on your left monitor and then having NextGen on, maybe as an example, your right monitor. So you're sitting at your desk with 2 monitors. If you're a team member working, again, I tend to go to referrals because that's what is comfortable to me, as well as that's probably what I get the most questions about, because, you know, that's a lot of the priority within the clinic is working those referrals and getting the members or our patients scheduled out with, you know, the appointments that they need outside of our clinic. So you might have order management kind of on a left monitor, you put NextGen on your right monitor, and then you can toggle and just change between the 2 as you need to with just, you know, moving from monitor to monitor. So at the top of the screen, I have my filters listed here, and the filters is really the heart of the solution and how we get down to the data that you want to see. So we have some neat functions here that you don't have available to you in the NextGen application today, and one of those is follow-up dates. So I could click the calendar and say I want everything scheduled for follow-up in September, and I could review that list here on my screen and work those orders as I need to. If I want to, maybe your referrals department is divided by payer. maybe, maybe one user works a certain set of payers, like maybe all of your blues, for example, because they're a Blue Cross payer expert, and then maybe somebody else works commercials. You could slice and dice the referrals that way if you would like to. The information that you see here at the top in the filters are all ways that, again, you can slice and dice your practice data to get down to specifically what you might want to look for, or what you might want to focus on working in that setting. All of these filters work together. So what I mean by that is, if I start typing in information, it's going to reduce the number of referrals I have listed here at the bottom. So right now I have 1,578. And if I was to say, okay, show me all of my Blue Cross, now I have 2. So, these filters here at the top are going to work together to parse down the data to a smaller subset that I might want to work. Maybe I want to throw out my completed and my deleted, and I just want to see everything that's pending. And maybe I want to see everything that's pending with a follow-up date in September. I could do that. I can sort that data here on my screen and get down to just that exact subset that I want to follow up on. Maybe I only want to follow up on the ones that I'm assigned to. I can do that as well. So you've got a couple of new functions in fields here in order management with the follow-up date and the assigned to, that are really allows you to work referrals in more of a team-based setting, and gives you some additional functionality just to make that convenient and make that processing a little bit easier within like a department type setting. So that's how you get to the data. You can use the filters at the top, you can use the option down the left-hand side, or you can use a combination of both. They honor each other. So if I put filters in at the top and then I choose one of the items here on the left, they're going to all work together to give you that very specific list of referrals that orders that you want to see. Now, when it comes time to work the orders, maybe I've got my list prepared and now I want to start working these. The show button is what is going to actually launch the order for me here in order management and allow me to document. So you're going to see a lot of similar fields that you have in NextGen. And again, we have these mapped from order management to NextGen, and then NextGen back to order management. So if you make an update to an order in order management, it's going to populate in your NextGen system as well. And then vice versa. If you add information into NextGen, maybe the clinical staff adds a comment or puts some information in NextGen, that's going to write to order management for us as well. So that data is going to stay in sync so that we always have the same information in both places. So of course, the follow-up date, the assigned to, those are things that we only have in order management, just simply because we don't have those fields within the NextGen application. So maybe you send a form into this payer and now we're waiting on a prior auth. So I could set my follow-up date to be, 1 month out if I wanted to. So we'll do November the 19th. I could assign this to me, and I'm logged in as the administrator today. And then I'm just waiting on the authorization. So maybe I want to say pending auth. I can make my updates and I can save this information, and that order is going to be updated in order management, and that information is also going to write into my NextGen application. And then now I can click the show button on the next one and start working my next referral. You're going to notice a lot of similar fields because we need those fields. Authorization, scheduling. Did we receive the report? Is the referral completed? Did we maybe need to cancel the referral, and why? Has the patient been notified? Did we share the information with the patient? These are all fields that are present in NextGen today, and they're also present in the order management utility so that this information can be shared between order management and NextGen, and always making sure we get the chart updated with the latest and greatest information. So I'm going to take a quick breath there and ask Holly, do we have any questions in the chat so far?
I do not at the moment. If anybody wants to put one in there, let me know.
Okay, perfect. I tend to get on a roll talking, so I always want to make sure that I haven't missed an opportunity to answer any questions for someone. So if I want to generate a report, possibly, maybe I want to see all of the orders that are currently scheduled. I have 8 orders that are currently scheduled, and when I click the export report, the export button right here, it's going to bring up a report of just those 8 orders in a CSV format. So if you're doing any type of outreach, or you need to take this information and share it with anyone else, or you just needed a report of the count, or whatever the case may be, you not only have this information within the order management system, it is just that simple to generate a report with all of the same data fields that we have available in order management and in NextGen. Have a report now, an exportable, nice Excel document that I can take and use for, whatever need I might have. Whatever you have filtered here at the top, when you click export, it's basically creating that report for you. So a lot of times I get the question, well, what kind of reports do you have? And I would ask you, what do you want to report on? Because if I can filter to it, I can report it. So that's the beauty of order management, is you don't have to have preset reports like we think about a lot of times in NextGen, because there's so much flexibility in the filtering and the sorting. I can create any report I need on any combination of these items. And today I might want it one way, and tomorrow I might get a request from a different administrator and I need just a little bit of a different tweak on that. As long as we have a filter for it, we can filter down to that data and export it out just that easy.
All right, Sean, I do have a couple questions flowing in if you would like them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's see. Is there a way to make certain fields mandatory before saving? Example, communicate with patient, assigned a specific coordinator.
You can. It's kind of funny you asked that question, because originally the assign to was required right from the developers, and I asked them to make it not required, because in maybe a smaller department you might not want the assign to, but maybe in a larger department you do, or vice versa. So I asked the developers not to require any fields, so that each clinic would have the opportunity to make sure that order management would be a good fit to their workflow. So we can certainly require fields. Now, out of the box, literally nothing is required, because that's by design, but we could certainly, upon implementation, discuss what fields you would want required, and we could look at doing that.
All right, and my next question, can you generate any NextGen documents from Order Management Solution website, like the referral document or the referral appointment details document in NextGen?
We do not have that ability. That's a great question. We did toss that around. We do not have that ability in version 1, what I'm showing you today, but that is certainly high on the radar for a future version, because we have received that request. So we definitely want to investigate what options we might have with that, for sure.
All right, I'll keep going. We use the cardiology templates for orders. Will this work with the cardiology templates?
I believe it would, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to order management, you would still see your cardiology referrals. I think, or not, sorry, not referrals, but orders. If I'm not mistaken, that is all connecting behind the scenes, but feel free to email us if you go back and check that out and that is not the case. Please send me an email. Holly's going to give us an email address at the end of the presentation today that you can reach out to if you have any questions, or would like more information on the product. And if you find that not to be true, please email me and let me know, because I'd love to have a conversation with you. But I think you'll see that those all write to the same table behind the scenes.
All right, next question. We have, can you also build preset reports in Order Management Solution?
Okay, so we don't have the, that's a good question. We don't have the ability to build preset reports today because we were thinking that the filters were really a nice way to be able to come in and just make your reports on the fly. If I want a report of, uh, all of my, you know, ordered within a, when I could do all of my orders that were ordered within a certain date range that, haven't been moved to the next status. I could do that and then just export that data. If you find or feel that that might be cumbersome, we're very much open to look at reporting, but we were really trying this new concept of more of reporting on the fly versus canned reports like we're used to seeing, in the traditional environment. So I'm kind of interested to hear your feedback on the reporting on the fly for sure, because I'm hoping that'll be a great solution for everybody and give you in the end, I know it's a little bit of an adjustment and a different way to think about it, but in the end, I think you'll have a lot more flexibility with the on the fly option versus having those preset reports. But I welcome the feedback if you don't feel that's the case.
She replied, I think I see that tabs are on one of the order groups you can review. Can you use this to build a data set of orders not signed off in the PAQ? Hmm.
Mm, I'm not I'm not sure on this, but I can tell you that we are in order management, we are not monitoring the PAQ. This is more about the processing of the orders, getting the appointment made, getting the order completed. We're not looking at the PAQ sign off piece in this module today. That's not to say that we couldn't in the future, but as it stands today, that's not a part of version 1. The PAQ wouldn't be. Now, I will tell you just a quick shameless blurb. We do have another product called the EHR Operations Dashboard that has that and many other things that are audited at a practice level, where you could see all the PAQ items that are unsigned. And it's a little bit of a different product, but it is auditing that for you. So if you'd like some more information on that, please reach out. I'd be happy to set up a demo for you and show you a little bit about that, more about that utility and how we might be able to use the two together to achieve what you need on that.
All right. Next question I have, can you toggle to the patient chart from the order list?
That is a great question. And that's one of the things that we had a lot of conversation on. But the short answer is no, you cannot. This is a website. So we cannot, launch next gen activities from, a separate website. And that was by design. So, a lot of thought went into that, just trying to figure out the best workflow. But what we really, in order management, what we really were basing a lot of the decisions on was the 80-20 rule. What we tried to do was put enough information into order management to where 80% of your orders you could work straight from order management and not have to toggle to next gen. And then, of course, the 20% might be unique cases, unique situations where you would have to launch the chart in NextGen and do work within the application itself. So we were trying to strive for that 80-20 rule. And again, if you kind of envision, I know it's hard with the demo because I can only show one screen at a time. But if you think about your setup at your desk with two monitors, if you have order management on the left monitor, you have your NextGen on the right monitor, it'll be pretty seamless for you to be able to use each one independently. Or that's our thought process for sure on that one.
We just had a flood come in, so I'll just keep giving you the ones I have.
Okay,
Um, will the notes be placed here? Will the notes that are placed here go back into NextGen?
they do. They write back into the application, and I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works today, time permitting.
All right, I don't think I've sent this one over. Are notes added to order management solution going to show in NextGen, or do we have to make notations on both ends? So that's about the same question.
It is, and
Um,
I would also add if you add notes, depending on where you add them, but we would help you with the workflow. But if you add notes into the order in NextGen, it'll show up in order management as well. That goes both ways, and I just thought I'd mention that while we're on that topic.
and is this real time, or how fast does the order show in the tool?
It's really your discretion on that question. That's a great question, and Right now, for my demo system, I have it updating every 15 seconds because I wanted it to be really fast on the demo to be able to just click over to NextGen and show you. In real life, you probably don't need it updating that quickly just because you're going to be working from a list here and you're not going to just put an update in order management and go right to NextGen to see if it updated because you wouldn't need to touch it twice, when you're really working on it. It would just be things here and there. So I mean, I would assume, and again, I'm making a big assumption here, and you could set whatever you wanted when you do the implementation, but I would assume probably every 15 minutes, maybe every 30 minutes is what that sweet spot that most clinics would want to be in, to where your updates are sending both ways every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. But again, if you had like a need for it to be quicker or maybe even a need for it to be longer, we will set that on implementation for you and make sure that that's a good fit for your group. And then of course, there's you get support and maintenance with this product. So at any time, if at any time you're like, I really don't, that girl was right. Maybe I don't need them so often. I can space that out more down the road. Or maybe you find, man, Shauna was in left field. I need this quicker. I need this to be syncing more often. We could certainly do that for you too. So at any time, we'd be happy to adjust that until we find that right fit for your group. There's no, it's not one of those things you set it one time and we can never adjust it again. We would be happy to work with you on that and continue to adjust it until we find that right fit for your group. And that may be different for each group depending on your workflow, and that's okay. It's not a one size fits all kind of deal. Each implementation will be very much tailored to your group and your specific needs.
I have three more. Want me to keep going or?
Yeah, let's go ahead
Okay.
and take care of those.
All right. In reference to the question about the saved reports, would you be able to save filters? Also, it would be good filter based on age of order. We track outstanding orders that are over a certain age.
I like that idea to save filters. I mean, I don't have it today, but I do like that idea a lot. I just wrote that down and I made a note on that. I think that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that.
All right. Next, if you complete an order for an injection, will the charge release in NextGen?
So your next gen logic is going to fire how your next gen logic fires. So if you have your logic uh, set up to fire upon order completion, yes, when that writes back to NextGen, just as if the user hit completed, when the system marks it completed, that NextGen logic is going to take the same trigger and fire in the same manner. So you will notice really no difference in the net end result of that, other than whatever your sync time frame is. If it's 15 minutes, if it's 30 minutes, that might be the only delay you would see in that charge. And it's not really a delay, it just has to wait on NextGen would have to receive the information for that logic to fire. So in the end, it'll look no different to you than if a user documented it. All that NextGen logic is still going to fire and is still going to run on those charts for you.
Okay. My clinic wants to be able to run a report for induction of labor referrals. Can this be done?
Oh, we'd have to have some conversation about what type of order that is. I mean, I sure hate to answer that question and not give you the right answer. So I'd love to talk about that more, and investigate, how that order is put in the system, what you're doing to process that order. I'd like to get some more information from you on that and give you a better answer, to be honest. Off the cuff, I'd love to tell you, yes, we can pull it up, but I want to give you a more detailed answer. So if you wouldn't mind emailing us and giving us your information, I'd love to set up a call and learn more about that with you and give you a for sure answer on that one.
I have one more and then we'll let you keep going. And by the way, I am recording everybody's questions so we can make sure that we do get follow up. And I do have your emails. So
Oh, perfect.
make
So I'll
sure
stop
we
saying
didn't
that.
miss it.
Thanks, Holly.
Yeah, we've got it in here in the chat. So we're good.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. The next one is if a referral is ordered as urgent or stat, where would it show in the order management solution?
So urgent or stat, let's go in and look. I'm not sure that we have the priority on here. Let me look into that one a little bit more. That's a good question, and that is
All right.
definitely something we would want to have in the product. So let me do a little more checking on that one for you.
All right. We'll let you keep going. I'll give you more when they come in at the
Okay,
next
perfect,
at the
perfect.
next
Hey,
break.
thank you guys for all those great questions. I love the interaction and keep them coming. We'll answer all that we can within the time that we have. But as Holly mentioned, what I'll do now is I'll just kind of finish up the demo. That way, we'll spend the rest of the time that we have getting your questions answered and let you see the rest of the demo. So I'm gonna just filter up here. I'm gonna first clear my filters and I'm gonna look for Dylan Sanders. So I want to kind of show you the interaction between order management and NextGen. I mean, I've showed you the order management product, but I kind of wanted to show you a little bit about the interaction and how that works within the application. So you see that I have Dylan Sanders pulled up in order management, and Dylan has 4 total orders, 3 of which are lab and 1 is a referral. And you can kind of see all the details over here. They're all in an ordered status. Of course, I'm in a demo database, so most of my stuff is just ordered. And then I have the details of the different orders and provider location, all that good stuff. If I hop over into NextGen, you're going to see in order management, when I drill down to the particular patient, you're going to see those same 4 referrals here for Dylan. If I click to lab, you're going to see the 3. If I click to referral, you're going to see the 1. And then, of course, if I go back to all, you're going to see the 4. And you can kind of really, I think this is a good illustration to kind of demonstrate to you how the order management gives you a lot of this great information in this application as well. Again, thinking about that 80-20 rule where you can do most of your work here in order management without having to go to the NextGen application. So if I come to refer to specialty and I want to, I'm sorry, if I come to referred to gastroenterology and I want to look at this order and maybe I start working this referral and then I run into a question, I can task from order management just like I can from within NextGen. And I'm going to say that my task subject is referral question. You can see I've used that one before. And my description is it okay for this patient to be referred to any provider or only the provider specified? I mean, that's just what you would type into the task. What's your question? If you have a priority, you can mark that. If you have a due date, you can mark that. But the main thing you want to do is the subject, the description, and then if you want it to go to a user or a work group. So I'm going to do user and I'm going to pick myself. I'm going to pick Wilburn and I'm going to click submit. So what that did, you see this little note here, task created successfully. I just created a task from order management that's going to send that question to that particular user within the NextGen application. Now, as a reminder, I can send it to a user or I can send it to a work group just like I can within the NextGen application. The order management is very tightly integrated into with your NextGen application. So a lot of the same pick list, a lot of the same information, we're going to share those tables between both fields, so that between both applications, so that that data stays in sync for you. And if you have a team working in order management, they have the same fields and the same options in their pick list as if you're working in NextGen, so that over time, administration oftentimes spends a lot of time getting those lists fine-tuned, your workflow lined out. So we want to honor that with the order management and keep both of your applications in sync together. So now if I come into my EHR and I just go to my inbox like my normal day, there's my task right there on Dylan Sanders. Remember, Dylan Sanders, that's who I'm working on. There's my task right here, referral question, and is it okay for this patient to be referred to a provider? At this point, you can't tell that this task didn't come from NextGen because we're using all the same NextGen tools, fields, things like that. So at this point, when I receive this task, I don't know, and probably most people don't care where it came from. They're going to answer it and get you the answer back. And that information will come right back to your inbox in NextGen so that you could continue to work that task within the application. So again, using the tools that you have available in NextGen, but using it through the order management application to maybe make that process a little bit easier for you. Same kind of thing happens if I want to make an update to Dylan's referral here. Let's say maybe I called gastroenterology. Maybe we always refer to a certain hospital, something like that. And maybe I called them and now I have an appointment scheduled. You see, the order status that I started with is ordered. And I'll close this to show you ordered here. But let's say I am going to do the scheduling, just like I would in NextGen. I click performed. Notice that it automatically updated my order status to scheduled. Pretty nice, saves you that click and that hassle, because if you're marking that scheduling was done, we need to update the status to scheduled. So we're going to do that for you. And let's say we make that appointment for next Tuesday, and I'm just going to appointment time, location, that's all the standard stuff, but I'm just going to save this for the sake of time. And again, you're going to get these little confirmations that your order was updated successfully. You're now going to see the order status is updated right here in order management. If I go back in there, that data is now going to be on the record and saved for me. But you can kind of see that that information is here. And if I click over into the NextGen system, I can open up this order. And now I can see that this was scheduled for the 25th, just like I documented in order management. So see, there it's just the integration is there between the two products. So if you document the information in NextGen, it's going to go to order management. If you document the information in order management, it's going to flow to NextGen, so that no matter where your team looks, everybody's going to see the same information. You may have users that never even log into order management or even know it's a tool available to your staff, but they're going to see the benefit of it when they're working their charts and when they're seeing the patients, because we're going to be able to process these orders and work through these orders so much quicker, because now we have a tool to gather all this information up and serve it up to our users that are working these orders in such an effective manner that we're going to be able to process more orders, because we're not spending our time reporting and searching and looking. We have the list right here. We just got to sit down, make the calls, and do the work. Okay, so thanks so much for hearing me out on the order management demo today. That's kind of the information I wanted to show to you. But Holly, we'll go back to questions, and if there's anybody that would like to be unmuted, we'd be happy to do that and share a little bit more about order management with anybody that has any questions.
All right, well, I do have a couple submitted that we haven't gone over. Okay, I have one that says, I think our referrals department process typically involves calling about scheduling the diagnostic or consult, faxing the referral or diagnostic document, and then updating the order status comments. Does OMS pull in enough information to generate its own document to fax, or would staff have to get each document from NextGen?
You would still fax the document from NextGen as you do today. That's the long and short answer. Now, we could definitely talk about the workflow of how we do that, but you would definitely still need to go into NextGen to get the document attachment and fax that out.
Okay, and my next one, we currently use I2I for referral tracking, and we are able to search for a specific patient using that HRN versus their first and last name. Can we do the same in order management solution?
We didn't put the HRN, or some people might refer to that more like the medical record number, or person number, all the ways you can search in NextGen. We really didn't put that in here because we felt like more people would be searching by the patient name, but because I don't really know how you would have that HRN if you're not in NextGen to get that information to begin with. Because you want to think about order management is you're not as reliant on NextGen and HRN and MRN and person number and things like that anymore, because now you're working it at a different level, more at the practice level. So we can definitely talk about that and see if that's a need, but I wonder if you're not in NextGen to start with and you're only working in order management, would that still be a need? I'm not sure on that. Maybe it is, but we could definitely look at that if we needed to investigate that more.
All right. Are tasks from OMS recorded anywhere else in NextGen? Telephone call summary, communication, part of home. Is there a record of tasks sent on an order viewable in OMS?
So it does not record the task sent or anything like that. We do link into, your audit trail, your advanced auditing, and the things that you can report out on. But as far as being able to, I'm pulling up Dylan again, the one that I sent the task on. We don't really document that we sent that task. Now, we certainly could look at things like that, but I know the initial thought on order management, just to let you know kind of what the thought was, is we were trying to keep everything on one screen and really make this simplified. And the more you add to it and the more that you show, the screen's going to be busier and have more data on it. So there's definitely a trade-off there. I don't think we would be opposed to tracking more information, but we certainly want to keep that balanced with the value of simplifying the process. So that's just some food for thought there. We can definitely talk more about that though.
All right. Any plans for a recall or outreach to the patient?
A lot of the export button was based on like a well app or something like that, where you might want to do some recalls or something like that. We made sure we did it in like a CSV format to where you have the data that would be needed by an outreach group. So that was the thought process there, because a lot of people take a like an Excel document and save it to a specified location, and then like a well app or a third party app is picking that up and sending it out. Or if you're using Eagle Dream today through NextGen and you have, the Pop Health Hub, this information, these patients would certainly be there, and we could help you with reporting to be able to do your outreach through that mechanism if you have that in place as well. So when it comes to outreach, it really depends on what your clinic has chosen to use, and how you're taking advantage of that product. But I definitely think we have some tools that could help with that.
All right. And is there a free text box for comments and order management solution that map to a field in the order window in NextGen?
Yes, yes. So comments map to your comments here, and then of course it writes down to this grid. So like if you're familiar with this, if you add a comment here, and you save that, it writes down to the entries in this grid. So that comment field would map here. And then also if I edit this pop-up, this reason for referral here maps to reason for referral here. So you kind of have two fields that map back, just depending on how your workflow is and which field you would prefer to use. We could take advantage of either or.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay, the next question was on costs, which that's something I can answer. Actually, that would be discussed with your sales representative, so we can make sure that you get with the right person to give you that info to make sure you get your specific cost. Okay, my next question, if a patient's scheduled for a specialist appointment, but such appointment ends up being rescheduled, will order management solutions show or keep record of all appointments?
No, it's going to kind of mirror the NextGen application, where you just have a field for the current one. So we're going to kind of replicate the logic that you have in NextGen today on that. And the reason why is we're routing back to these fields, so we can't, we're a little bit limited in adding fields that NextGen doesn't have, because we're writing back to these fields and sharing that information. So there's some pros and cons with that, but kind of the short answer on that one is no, because NextGen only has the one field, so we only have the one field so that we can stay in sync.
All righty. Do any of the fields map to the order module?
Uh, Not technically, but a lot of the order management fields are mapped to the order module. If you place an order through order module, it writes to order management. And, order management is really the hub of information, because like you think about like your care guidelines and your next gen functionality, much of it, believe it or not, runs off of order management. Even though you may be placing your lab orders in the order module, they still right here, and many of the ancillary tools that you have in NextGen are actually looking at order management and not the orders module in a lot of cases. So I think if it's a fair answer, I think the fair answer is to say yes, just because order module writes to order management and we look at order management. But if you have like a particular example that you know is not shared, we could certainly look into that if that's a need for your group.
All right. And then do the updates to the order drop into that tracking grid?
Yes, the updates to the order would drop into the tracking grid just like it would, for any other update that NextGen has. So yeah, we try to, in a general sense at eMedApps, we use a lot of different products that we work with the next gen application on, and in all things we observe the next gen rules. Like I can't let you write in and see information without an unlocked encounter. We follow the next gen rules and respect those. We just try to enhance those processes and stand in the gap where there's not current functionality. Like right now, there's not a great way to see all of your orders at like a practice level, thus the utility that we have. But we still very much want to honor the next gen rules and the workflows and kind of the fundamental practices within the application, because we want all the other things in next gen to continue to work well for you. So we want to respect that and play by the rules, so that everything else that might touch this area, or documents that you have built, or reports that you already have written, all of those are still going to continue to work off of these fields.
Okay, I think that's all I've got in the questions. Oh, here we've got another one coming in. Is access to the order management solution based on security groups and NextGen system administrator? If so, will it use the same username password or will the users need to have a separate login?
So it is a separate login, but I can show you a little bit about how that works. So this administration section only displays if you're an administrator. If you're just a user, you would have dashboard, orders, and change password. That's the only three options you would have on the left as a user. And as administrator, of course, you get all these configuration options that we would go through. But on manage users, yes, you do have to build your user out. But the nice thing about it is, what it does is we tie into your next gen users. So you can pick the same user and it will tie back to that user. So like when you write information into next gen, like you update the eMedApps order management, it's going to show, for example, that Alexis Jones made that update in next gen because Alexis Jones made that update in order management, and we have the two user logins synced together. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. You have the opportunity to give the access that you want to order management, but we do tie back to your next gen user list, so that tasking user groups and all the different functionality that you have within next gen, your advanced audit, like when you open a next gen record and you hit the who when, it's going to have logical information in there for you, even if it came from order management.
All right, I think that is all I have. Great questions.
Yeah, those
Um,
were fantastic.
Anything else on your end, Shauna?
No, no, I just wanted to tell everybody thank you for your time. And there was a lot of good questions, and I hope I answered them well for you. But any that I didn't answer, please don't hesitate to reach out. Or if you'd like to talk more about your specific situations, we would love to have those conversations with you and see if order management might be a good fit for your group. We'd love to share more information and see how this tool might be able to help you. So don't hesitate to reach out or send any additional questions in. We'd be happy to get those answered for you. So
And
Holly, with that, I'll just turn it back over to you. And thank you for your time, everyone. It's always appreciated.
Yes, thank you again, everybody, for attending today. If you did submit a question, I will make sure you do get a follow-up, whether we answered it to completion or not. As well, if you guys know who your rep is for your area, feel free to reach out to them if you have any additional questions or would like more info or pricing. And we, of course, enjoy any feedback at all on both the webinar as well as questions on the product. You will all receive the recording within probably about 24 hours. You should get an email from, I think it's the same email format you got for the invite. So you'll get a copy of the slides as well as a recording. And then again, we will reach out to the people that submitted questions. If you don't know who your rep is, feel free at any time to send an email to info@emedapps.com and we will make sure you get the answers that you need. And thank you again, and everybody have a great rest of your afternoon.